Thank you for joining us today with Reclaiming My Life podcast. And today we are going to talk with Trisjen Harris. How are you doing today, Trisjen?
I'm doing good, really good. Thanks for having me on the channel.
I appreciate you coming on to talk with me today. I've been seeing you all over YouTube lately. The first
Oh,
time I saw you, first time I saw you was with Tim Mills on the Harmonic Atheist. That was the first time I saw you. And then I saw you on, is it Ichabod?
yep, yeah, with
I
Brady.
saw you on that. And then it seemed like it was something else, or maybe it's just where I've been watching your videos
Hmm.
since you've been doing yours. Yeah, I really enjoy those.
Oh
And
man, yeah, I
yeah,
appreciate it because I was wondering when I did those interviews because it's like an algorithm. They say that when you start doing stuff, you start populating through
hmm,
channels and hits. And I don't know nothing about it because I'm all new to YouTube, but it's good to see that people are able to do these interviews and they circulate all over. So that's good.
yeah, because I hope that more people will start watching and more people will start waking up and understanding that what they've been believing is not what's real.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And I
So
think that. Oh, I'm sorry. Go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, no, go ahead.
And that's why I'm glad for your channel and other channels because it really gives a voice to those people who question and who have
Hmm.
been wondering, and it provide a platform for them to question and laugh and just say, you know what, this don't make no damn sense, and this can't be
Yeah.
true. So that's like a real good step in the right direction. So I hopefully, yeah, I'm glad. I want to see more wake up. Totally.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's what I like about your stuff is like 'cause you just don't take life so seriously. Like you
Nah.
joke about it, you laugh about it, and that's how I feel about it too. Like
Right.
I think some people just take life so seriously and they just cannot fathom. Like they're so afraid. Like they just have this fear. I can't speak against God, or I'm
Hmm.
gonna go to hell, or bad things are gonna happen to me,
Right.
and it's just like I just don't take life that seriously.
And that's a good point because like for so long, especially being a Christian and a preacher for years, like that was my whole MO. I took like so seriously. It had to be this way. It's oh my goodness. So me leaving it, I can laugh at it. Like, and that's why I was
Yeah,
like, you know what, I'm gonna start my channel and just laugh about all this stuff
hmm,
because it don't have to be that serious. It's
yeah,
okay to ask these questions. It's okay to joke about it because in our honesty, when stuff don't make sense to us, we laugh about it. We joke about it.
hmm,
So why is
hmm,
religion or any belief system off the table? And I don't think it is. I laugh about that
yeah,
too. So it's funny.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's such a touchy subject for a
Yeah,
lot of people.
for
And
sure.
I've had people, just really just turn their nose up and just be like, so, so what is it that you do believe? If you don't believe in that, then what do you believe? And it's just like,
Right.
why do you care? Why does it bother you what I believe? Why do
Right.
you care one way or the other? Like,
Yeah.
but for some that people that are close to me that do care about me, I understand that their seriousness and their agitation and their reason for getting upset is because they truly are afraid for me. They
Yeah.
truly are afraid that I'm going to go to hell, and or if there's something bad is going to happen to me. And that's where, some of that comes from. People that are close to me is just like they just truly are afraid for me.
Yeah.
And I feel bad for that. But I just wish they would listen to me and maybe they could lose some of that fear. And
Yeah,
yeah,
that's one of the things I'm not gonna lie, like that's one of the things I hate is that fear feeling like that. You know what I mean? Where
hmm,
you're so afraid, where it's like you've been taught so long and so much that if you do this, oh, this is gonna happen. I hate
yeah,
that. Like I hate feeling
yeah,
like that. And that was one of my reasons why I was like, you know what, let me start digging more into this to see if any of this is true.
yeah,
Because like I hate being fearful and I hate being manipulated. So like
yeah,
those two things were one of the worst. And
yeah,
just to hear loved ones and people and like you said, people who care about you, they still stuck in that and they repeat it. And it's like you're given that power, but it has no power. But because you're
yeah,
afraid of it, you know what I mean? You're empowering
hmm,
it. And
hmm,
that's why it's like I like to just break the mold of all that.
yeah, yeah. I'm so glad to be out of it, and I've been making these shirts. Like the one I have on today, it says "Free Thinker." Like I initially started making these shirts so I can wear them on my podcast, but then you can't see them anyway. So
Hey, but you know what? You got to put the link in there, like for people to buy those, because so many
yeah.
people will buy them and support you in that way. So that'd be like another outlet.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I'm gonna when I have time. I'm gonna put together a Shopify or
Yeah.
something where I can upload all my T-shirts because I have a print business too. So I
Oh.
print all these shirts. I just come up with ideas and then I print them. So I do put them on Facebook, but my Facebook people don't even know they're clueless. Like
Yeah.
most of them are clueless to even what I'm doing or what I think or how I feel. I haven't got bold enough to share that with Facebook yet.
Mm-hmm.
So it's mostly just on TikTok and but I'm gonna create a Shopify and I'm gonna make some mock-ups and put the shirts on the store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be good
So
because so many people will support and buy it too. Yeah, I love shirts. Like I done a couple videos where I purchased shirts from other channels, just to
okay.
because I like them and just putting it out there, Yeah, and that was
Yeah.
one thing. Like I wasn't as a Christian, I wasn't afraid or I wasn't shy, So like me coming out, I'm not gonna be shy. I'm gonna wear shirts and
Yeah.
everything like that. So yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah. And then for me it's not really, it's for me like first it was because of my husband just basically trying to protect him. But then, as more people started, really hearing about it and talking about it, that kind of went out the window. It's like, well, if people are asking you what do I believe or whatever, then apparently people are starting to really figure out and know. So I might as well come on out with it. But I just haven't gone to Facebook with it yet. But at the end of the day, it's gonna all come out soon. I'm in a very small town,
Hmm.
so there's a few that don't know, but then there's still a few, quite a few that do know. But
Yeah.
so it's just time, a little bit at a time, a little bit at a
Right.
time,
Right.
and
Whenever you're comfortable, whenever you want to do it, it's all on your steps and how you move. So yeah, it's up
yeah,
to you.
yeah. Because we were, I was very vocal about my beliefs, like you said with you. You were very vocal about your beliefs and you weren't shy. Same with for me. I was very out there. My husband and I sang together, did music together, and I produced out, organized concerts and events,
Wow.
and ministered in the jails and prisons and treatment centers, and so I
Right.
wasn't a pastor. I wasn't a pastor or anything like that, but I was very much a servant. Very
Yeah.
much a worker.
Right.
I did.
Yeah, you
I wasn't
definitely
just a
were.
pew warmer.
Right. You on the front lines, getting nitty gritty, all of that, doing all of
All
the
of that.
ministry. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, all of
Yeah.
that. But anyway, let's get back to you. So I wanted to know a little bit about your story, about how you got into Christianity first, and then we'll talk about what moved you out of it.
Okay. Okay. How I get into it at the beginning was I remember about being 8 years old and um my mom got married to my brother's father. So it's seven of us. So it's all boys, three older than me, I'm in the middle, and three younger. And
Wow.
my mom got married to my younger brother, father under me, in the 90s, and he was a pastor, this little small Baptist church in Gary, because that's
Hmm.
where I'm from, in Gary, Indiana. And um, he was a pastor. So once they got married, her being a first lady, it was like, okay, we would go to church and she would take us. But for her, it wasn't that serious. For him, it was being a pastor, but for her, she wasn't a typical first lady. She wasn't always going and always in Bible study. And when we were at home, we wasn't reading the Bible with her. You know what I mean? So it
Hmm.
wasn't like that.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, as she would clean up the church and us running around the church and jumping on the pews and all that, that's when I first was really introduced to it seriously. And then a few years later after that, that's when I gave my life to the Lord at 8, 9 years old and got baptized for the very first time. And as I did that, I didn't really take it serious. It was one of those things when, especially in the black church, you hear back then, you heard a lot of hellfire and brimstone. Like, you don't go to
Yeah.
hell if you don't. So when you hear that as a kid, you scared as hell. And then you see all the other people go to the altar, you see all these other people go down, you're like, damn, I don't want to be left behind either. So you go down as
Yeah.
a kid. And that was like my motivation factor, that fear. And I went down, got baptized and everything. We still went to church, and then a few years later they got divorced. And
Mm.
like I said, we wasn't after that. We wasn't going a lot. And um, 9, 10 years old, we wasn't really talking about God or going to church or reading the Bible because after she
Hmm.
divorced the pastor, it was like we started living. She started living her life, and then we moved out of state, and church really wasn't even a thing. So I didn't even
Mhm.
take it serious. It was just one of those things that influenced me at a young age because of the fear of it. And
Yeah.
that's when I just started doing whatever I wanted to do, and then grew up as a teenager and started living life. So that was like my first introduction, and that's how I really kind of, got into it, or got
Mhm.
exposed to it on that level.
Yeah. 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 Um, I think, when I was growing up, I didn't grow up really in church either. Like, I went to church a few times, but I didn't grow up in the church.
Yeah.
And but yeah, so I remember hearing about you speak about your brother, being a kind of a strong Christian.
Hmm.
Even now, is that the same brother that had the pastor dad?
That the brother that was a strong Christian for me was my oldest. He's like number one. He was born first. And he's about 10,
Hmm.
11 years older than me. And
Hmm.
so after we moved out of state in the 90s, 93 to 96, we came back. And when I came back in 96, my older brother, the one I'm speaking of, he was already like on fire for Jesus, the deacon, in the church. And I'm,
Hmm.
15, 16, or no, 13, 14 by then. So I'm looking at his life and seeing him and how he moved and his dedication, Wednesday Bible study, church on Sunday. I'm like, and then by then, a lot of my family had went to the same church too. My grandma, my cousins. I mean, we all in the choir. So when I get back from out of state, I join that church,
Hmm.
come down to the as they say, the altar, doors of the church is open, and then I come down, and then the whole spiel. Do you have any Christian
Yeah.
experience? All of that, right? And I'm
Yeah.
13, so I joined the church, rededicated my life back to the Lord. Then, you know, but my mom, she still wasn't doing it. It was just something that I did because I saw like my brother, and he was very influential, and
Hmm.
we got really close, and he started telling me about God and the Bible and Jesus. I mean, oh, nonstop. You know how like when your family members get in church and like they really get serious. They talk
Yeah.
about Jesus all the
All
time.
the time.
It's
All the
like,
time.
damn, this all you talk about. That was my brother. Hit me from all ways. Bam, 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 every day. Bam. I'm like, man. So then it was like those were the seeds. And that just,
Yeah.
started to permeate. And then when you mix life in there as a teenager, you out drinking, smoking, you doing whatever, running the streets, and then you hit a hard day or a hard time. Next thing you know, you recalling this Jesus everybody's talking
Yeah.
about. And
Hmm.
that's when that motivating factor in high school, when I gave my life to the Lord uh, seriously at this time at 17. And then that's when it
Hmm.
all started for me.
Yeah. Yeah. So I know when I saw your previous interview, it said you were a pastor for 20 years,
I was a preacher for
a
20.
preacher, a teacher.
I was associate minister under my pastor or my apostle, as black people got the whole fivefold: apostle, prophet, pastor, teacher, evangelist. You know
Bishop.
what I'm saying? Yeah, my senior pastor was an apostle. He wasn't a bishop, he was an apostle. So yeah, I was right under him as associate minister.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. So at what point, so you basically got serious at 17,
Mhm.
and then at what point did you start doubting? Did you start, and what caused you to start doubting?
Oh, so very good question. 17, I'm on fire. Like I'm so serious. I mean, to the point where I'm not cussing, smoking, drinking, no sleeping around. Like I'm done. I slip up here and there, because they talk about how fornication and you need to be holy unto the Lord, all those things.
Hmm.
So from 17,
Yeah.
trying to walk the state narrow, no slipping and dipping, to like 20, 21. And then at 22, I got married. So at 22, I got married. A
So
year
was that
later,
the apostle's daughter?
correct, the apostle's daughter. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So me and him are already like this, right? I'm 17, and like he's like just discipling me, man. And like I said, since I'm on fire, I'm so serious, everything stopped. I want to live right, and this, and that, as they say. And then 4 or 5 years later, I get married to his daughter, and now we're tight, going over each other's house and all that, learning. And then a year after that, I got married. I mean, after I got married, I started having kids. And so
Hmm.
from my 20s to 30s, I'm having kids, building a family. and I'm hearing and I'm preaching and I'm hearing sermons and this and that. But it'd be little things that I would hear that I would put in the back of my mind, like, I don't know about that. Yeah, like,
Mm.
that don't make sense to me. And I just shelve it in the back of my mind. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I'll talk about that later, deal with that later. And it's just different things that I would hear that would just spark that whole interest in me. Like, man, some of this just don't seem right, you know. And then
Mm-hmm.
like, from my 30s to my late 30s, going and ministering at other churches and seeing how other people is fellowshipping and seeing the condition of those churches. And then I'm
Yeah.
like, damn, so man, if God is this, God is that, why don't the people reflect all this? You know what I mean? So now I
Yeah.
got all of that churning, because being so close to the pastor, you hear all these other pastors talk. You hear about all
Mm-hmm.
these other pastors' issues in the church, the membership,
Yeah.
all of it. And I'm like, damn, all this going on, but I thought God was this. I thought God was that. So now
Mm-hmm.
all of that get in my head, and I'm spinning like, man, it's just, some of this ain't making no sense. It's not, is this as legit as y'all saying it is? So like, that's what
Mm-hmm.
got the ball rolling for me, where I just began to look around. You can hear a story in the Bible and you can see what the Bible say, but it was
Yeah.
like in real life reality, some wasn't adding up. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And that's what began the wheels for me.
Yeah. Yeah, because like you said, you go to all these different churches. When I lived in Alabama, we lived in Alabama for 5 years, and we went to so many different churches. Like we were always in church, and we'd go to church on Sunday, and then Sunday night we're going to a different church. And I sang in the choir, so the choir we had to go sing
Oh
for this
yeah.
church and that church. So, and then you see some of these little country churches, and they struggling, and they don't have anything, and they're struggling, and then you look at people in the church, and the pastor might have, got on a fine suit every week, but then you still got people in the church that are hungry. So, and you can't go to the church and ask for money. Like,
Right.
sometimes you can, some will help, some can, but a lot of times you can't, you can't do that. And so if God is so great and so good, why are we even struggling anyway?
Mm-hmm.
Why is it so hard? Uh, I asked the question. I was in a live. I watch this live just about every morning on TikTok, and I asked them one like, "Where's the manna from heaven for all these hungry people?"
Right.
I mean, honestly, we're
Yeah.
out here trying to, that's one of the things I do is help, feed the hungry and whatnot. Well, even though I'm not a Christian anymore, I'm still like to help people.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Absolutely. Yep.
you know, I still care about people, even though I'm a heathen, but I still love people.
Yep.
So, you
Absolutely.
know, so, where is the manna from heaven that feed all these? If God is capable of everything, then why isn't he feeding his people? Why are there hungry people?
Yeah. And think about it. That's such a simple question, and nobody got answers. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, wait, this don't
Yeah.
make sense. Like I would take my brother's Bible and I would open his Bible and put mine next to it, and everything he had highlighted, all the scriptures, I would highlight because I wanted to
Mm,
know. I just want, because it was that real to me. And then I came
yeah.
across a scripture. I think what David said in Psalms: "I was once young, now I'm old. But never have I seen the righteous forsaken or their seed begging bread." And I'm like, wait a minute. I'm going to all these churches and folks is struggling, barely making it. The same
Yeah.
people who are praying for something to eat is the same people that they saying God bless them with a job. So why didn't he bless them for food? Like, all of
Hmm.
it just didn't make any sense. And I began to look at this
Yeah.
like, man, this is not as legit as y'all saying it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's how I feel about it, because if he was that good, then nobody should be struggling. If he's capable, and I can remember, people coming to me, my cousin in particular, and he's always struggled. He's always gotten into trouble, and was kind of labeled as a bad kid and whatnot. And he came to me one time a few years ago, and he was saying, he was crying to me like, I'm trying to do better. Why aren't things working out for me? I'm doing better. I'm reading my Bible. I'm praying. Why aren't things getting better for me? And, I told him, I said, well, you spent all those years planting bad seeds. You got to get through all of that to get to the good. And that's what I
Mhm.
told him. Like, you still gotta reap all that bad stuff before you can get to the good stuff. Because he was struggling. And it's just like, that's not fair. You know, you turn your life over to God, why are you still struggling? Why is it
Yeah.
still hard? You
Yeah.
know.
And
But
that's the story for a lot of people, you know.
yeah,
And now, you know, Christians will come to the defense and say, well, God never promised a good life and all of this, which I get. Okay. It rains on everybody. You know what
the
I
just
mean?
and the
Good.
unjust.
Yeah. Like I get it. But you can't, like, they can't tell me, like, I have kids, I got daughters. I don't in no way want to see them struggle in any way. If I can help them, I'm going to help them.
That's right.
But how is a guy who's all powerful watch
Yes.
it and don't help? Like, you know,
Yes.
like, come on, like,
Yes.
yeah, this
Yes.
ain't adding up right. And then they say,
Yes.
well, that's the problem of evil or this. I'm like, no, man, like, it's just, to me, it's just common sense where it's like you can't say this God is all loving, but he don't respond to
Mhm.
certain, you can't, like, come
Mhm.
on.
Mhm. Isn't
Yeah,
his love supposed to be greater than ours? He's supposed to be able to love greater than we can love. But you know, like you said, when you have your own children and you want to do everything for your child, I want to do
absolutely.
everything to see my children succeed. Anything,
Yeah,
any way I can help, I'm gonna do it. If you tell me you're hungry, I'm gonna come and bring you some food.
I
You
got you.
know, if
Yeah.
whatever, if I got it, you got it. So why isn't God the same way? If his love is greater than ours, why isn't he the same way? And
Yep.
why, you know, I always bring up the point, you know, my 12-year-old doesn't listen to a thing I say. She's a baby of the family. I got a 30-year-old, all the way, I have 6 children. The oldest is 30, the youngest is 12. So she's the
Mm-hmm.
baby. And she don't listen to nothing. She
Mm-hmm.
just these new kids don't listen to nothing.
Yeah.
But do I want to see her burn in hell for her disobedience? Do I want to see her go through, you know, have eternity of misery because she doesn't listen to me because she's disobedient? No, I don't. So
Yeah.
why God that loves greater than us, why would he do that to us?
I'm telling you, that whole doctrine of hell and eternal punishment was one of the cruelest things known to humanity. Cause that right there, once the church organized that thing, oh man, it
Yeah,
locked it put people in a mental prison. Yeah,
yeah,
like it don't even make sense. Like you
yeah.
said, if you doing it as a human, and as they say in the book, his ways are higher than our ways. Well, why would he do it to us? Because we don't believe something? And what
Mm-hmm,
you're saying that we should believe just don't make sense.
mm-hmm,
It's irrational.
mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah,
no, come
yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
At the end of the day, we're not the problem. At the end of the day, he's the problem because he created us. So he
right.
created the problem. So you created the problem and then now we're being punished for the problem that you created.
Right, which is so weird because if you know, as Christians, their big thing is God is omniscient, he know everything. And I'm like, nah, I don't believe none of that. I don't think none of that's true. Because if he know
Yeah.
everything, why would he create us like this and then punish us for it? Like, it just don't make
Yeah.
sense. You know, two plus
Yeah.
two just don't
Not
add
at
up.
all. Not
Yeah,
at all. You
yeah,
knew what we were going to do. And even after the flood, you knew we were going to come back and still be what you consider bad people. So why even go through all that? Why the flood? Why any of that?
right.
Like it just like you said, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up at all.
Yeah.
Um, so what challenges have you faced from deconstructing? Do you call it deconstructing? Do you consider it deconstructing what you're going
Ye-
through or what you've
Yeah.
done?
So initially, I didn't know it at the time. Initially, like, me questioning that was my deconstruction, like ripping,
Hmm.
all of the theology, all the doctrines and dogmas of the church that I was taught and preached, like ripping that apart, don't make sense. Seeing where it came from, seeing how they created it, looking at its origins, and then deconverting, just leaving it at all. Like, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
good on all of that.
Hmm.
That's my position and where I am now. Like, because it's so, to me, it's so nonsensical where I
Hmm.
can't believe any of it. And I am not convinced at all that the Bible is God's inspired word. Nah, well, from the way I see it, man wrote it, and they were
Hmm.
behind the whole thing in the sense of there is no God as far as the author or the inspiration of the Holy Spirit. No.
Right. Right. I interviewed some guys, Matt and Jaron, and they have a book called Christ Before Jesus. That was actually the first interview I ever did, and they have a lot of scientific evidence that refutes that the Bible, was even, that it's anything other than myth.
Hmm. You know
Yeah.
what? Now that you mention that, I just finished that interview, and those two brothers, man, I love that interview because I loved academics, right? Like I went to
Hmm. Hmm.
school, Moody Bible Institute, undergrad for biblical studies for a while, and then I graduated from Liberty University for in a degree of religion. I love academics, so when they were
Yeah.
talking about how the Bible was written or how old the books were, oh, I love that because
Hmm.
when you can get into that, and like a lot of people don't know that information, they just open the
Yeah.
Bible and think like, oh, this is really true, but no, it's a whole backstory behind it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so much.
Yeah. So I don't. So do you consider yourself atheist or agnostic or something other?
So I'm atheist in the sense where I don't believe any God that's tied to a book and religion exists. We're talking about
Okay.
Judaism, Islam, Christianity.
Okay.
um I'm atheistic toward that. Agnostic in a sense where I don't know if there's um and I hate using this word God because what does that even mean? Like how are we defining
Hmm.
this? Whose definition
Yeah.
are we defining a God? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I don't know
Yeah.
what's out there, but I know that the ones that's tied to books like that, nah, that's
Yeah.
not no God at all.
I agree. I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Mhm.
I always just tell people I don't believe in the God of the Bible, but like I don't believe in the God of the Quran or
No.
any of that either. So I always say God of the Bible because I'm usually speaking to a Christian when I'm saying that. So
Yeah.
you know, I believe in a creator. I believe in
Hmm.
a creator, but I don't believe in the God of the Bible or, like you said, any of those other religions. I don't believe in religion at all. I think it was just all created by man for power and control.
Yeah.
So that's
That's a very good point, because it is one of the most powerful, richest institutions on earth. And
hmm
honestly, like the way I was taught, especially as a preacher, we used to have this thing called ministers meeting. And in ministers
hmm
meeting, all the preachers, we had like 14 preachers and prophets, evangelists, and we would all come together in our church and we would deal with different issues, sermon prep, how we would do apologetics. How do you respond to people who say this about the Bible, about Jesus? And then we would
hmm
also dig into other religions. And we would dig into other religions. Like I had Mormonism, somebody else had Jehovah Witness, somebody else had all these other beliefs. So we would just
hmm
tear them down, like
yeah,
really expose the chinks in the armor.
yeah,
So for me, when I was a hell bent Christian, I didn't believe any of them then. Like I wasn't like, oh yeah, Islam's true or Judaism. No, I was
yeah,
like, they all garbage because I thought
yeah,
my flavor
yeah.
was the right one. So I didn't accept
hmm
them then. So now that I'm out, I don't accept none of them. You know what I mean? Like I
Right.
don't believe in any of them. So I just
Yeah,
checked off the one that I had as garbage too. Totally.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, and that's the whole thing. Like, there's so many religions. How do we know that ours is the right one? And
Right.
then, but we never think about that while we're in it.
No,
But basically, the religion that you believe in is based on where you live and what family you're in.
that's
It's
a good
going to
point.
determine what religion you're in. So, it's
That's a
like,
very good point. Yeah. Yep, that's so true. Like if we were in the Middle East, we'd be something else. We wouldn't even be Christian. You know what I
right?
mean? Like this is come on. But you
Yeah.
can't tell believers of Christianity that they really think, and in their minds they are locked to think that
hmm
this is so true, that this is authentic, that this is the only one. Everyone else is
Yeah.
false. Yeah,
Yeah. And
it's
like
hard.
some research that I've done, because there for a while I was really doing a lot of research. And really, it was really, I was doing all this research just to try to convince somebody else. But I learned a lot in the process, and it
Hmm.
didn't convince nobody else. It didn't,
Right.
it didn't work. But, but that's why I started doing all this research. And, I was looking at, the like the whole missionary thing,
Yeah.
and that, when that started, the missionaries used to even have an army with them when they would go to other places to talk about the word. Like, why do you need an army? Why do you need an army to go and preach and tell people about the love of Christ? Why do you need
Right,
an army to go with you?
right.
Because it wasn't about just, hey, we just want to tell you about Christ. It was, this is what you're gonna do,
Absolutely.
or we gonna kill you, or if you don't
Comply or
believe.
die. Yep.
Yeah. So that's
Yep.
why Christianity is such a big organization, it's such a big religion, and why there's more Christians than there are anything else, because they forced all the forced conversions.
So true.
Yeah.
And,
So
and that's people always say, especially online, they be like, oh well, Christianity is true because look at all the members and look how long it's been around. But I said, listen, do you understand the bloodshed that
of
Christianity
the
did?
blood.
Like, come on, we're talking about the
Yes.
Inquisitions, the Crusades, the
Yes.
people that were really killing folk, burning them. Oh,
Yes.
you believe
Yes.
different than us? You a heretic. Burn them at the stake. Like
Yes.
all of that. And that's the history. So how in the hell do people not see that? Like that's how it blew up. If you are
Yeah.
dominating people by fear and death, of course you're
Mhm.
gonna be the biggest.
Mhm.
And then
Mhm.
you got
And
the Roman behind it with the money and
yes.
the come on.
Yeah. I've talked in some of my interviews to people about, how we refer to Christianity as being a blood cult. And then, like, you look at all the bloodshed, the more bloodshed, the stronger it got.
Yeah.
All the bloodshed, and then it's the stronger and bigger it got with all the killing and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one too. I always I always always try to ruffle Christians' feathers. Like especially when they my thing is this, man. I always say, listen, you can believe what you want. I don't care what you believe. I don't care if you believe pigs fly and you believe because there's a lot of people who believe a lot of crazy stuff, right? You can believe
Hmm.
whatever. Just don't
Hmm.
impose it on me.
Yeah.
Just don't come in my space telling me what I need to do and I need,
Yeah.
that's where the violation come in. Now I got to
Hmm.
destroy what you believe because it's like you don't even respect us as human beings not to impose that on me. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So
Hmm.
I always mess around with them and tell them that, yeah, you don't realize that you are in a human sacrifice blood code.
Yeah.
100%. That whole
Yeah.
ritual. It's a blood code. Like when you look at
Yeah.
that, like, oh, we are talking about drinking somebody's blood and eating their
Yeah.
body. And when you're in it, that sounds completely normal because you've been
Yeah, it does.
conditioned to it. But when you get out, you like, what the hell was I doing? I'm
Yeah.
telling you.
Yeah, and I think that whole ritual is one of the things that strengthens the believers. Like, I kind of believe in, like that kind of stuff as being rituals and whatnot, and I feel like that it strengthens the bond
Yeah.
um, that it has on the people that are doing it. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And
but yeah,
it's a
okay.
reason why they say don't forsake the assembly of yourselves together every week and
That's
Bible
right.
study, and it's a reason because it's like a
Yeah.
constant reinforcement.
It is.
Yeah.
And that's why after 2020 there's so many of us, because 2020 set some of us free from that, because we couldn't go to church, and then it was just like,
Right.
well, I'm good. And that so happened to me, is like, I kind of like not going to church. I don't want to go back.
You're regaining your time back. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like, I'm good. I don't want to go back.
Yep. That's what a lot of people said. It was like they looking back on that now, it's like, damn, man, when they shut the churches down, it helped a lot of people
It
because the
did.
mindset was we need to do this, we need to do this ritual, we need to do this habit every week, But once
Hmm.
they shut it down and you couldn't come together, then people was like, oh, I don't have to go as much, or oh, I
Yeah.
really don't need to be there, and I'm still okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was
And
eye
then you got
opening.
the ones that's like, well, I'll just watch it on TV. I'll just
Yep,
watch it on the
yep,
computer or whatever. It's
yep.
like, okay.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think, like I said, I think 2020 really freed a whole lot of people. I think that was what really caused this, all this deconstructing. There was, I'm sure there were a lot of people that were doing it prior, but now I just think it's just a lot of us. I think it's a
Yeah,
whole lot of us.
it really
Yeah.
is. And that's why I love to see it because like when I do my videos and people get on there and say, "Man, it's so good to see you out." And especially us black people, us colored people,
Yeah.
African origin. It's like man, like, cause we're so locked into this, like,
Yes.
oh my gosh, man, like you talk to a family member who believe it, they go nuts. It's like,
Yeah.
so just to see people come out, man, it just makes my day. It really
Yeah.
does. It's like we woke up from the spell and now we
Yeah.
out.
There's actually an organization called Black Non-Believers,
Yeah.
and I reached out to them, and they responded to me yesterday. So I'm hoping to get them on here too to talk with them
Oh,
about that.
that would be
Yeah.
amazing. If I'm not mistaken, isn't that Mandisa?
Yes.
Yeah. I see
Yeah.
them. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I
So
think that
yeah,
would
I'm
be
looking for them.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping I'll be able to make that happen in January.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So um so how did deconstructing your faith impact your emotional and mental health?
Oh my goodness, man. Me deconstructing. It helped me so much emotionally because mentally I had let go of all the baggage. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it's like when you are in it that deep, especially preaching and teaching, and like you said, with you doing ministry all the time, that's all you know. So you're in back
Hmm.
of your mind, you just want to please God. You want to make sure
Yeah.
God's pleased. You want to do what's right. You
Yeah.
want to be obedient. Like all that began to weigh on you.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
then it's like you want to make sure you got everything straight where it's like, man, did I mess up? Did I ask for forgiveness? Did I not ask for forgiveness? And I
Yeah.
don't want to go to sleep with sin. And so all of these things will me deconstruction, especially original sin, me deconstructing the whole Adam and Eve narrative. It helped
Hmm.
me so much mentally because I seen that it was just pure garbage. I was like,
Yeah.
oh no, this isn't true at all.
Yeah.
Scientifically, it's not true and it's not accurate historically at all.
Hmm.
So when I
Hmm.
deconstructed that, it helped me mentally because I was like, I'm free from this prison. Like my
Yeah.
mind, me having my mind back was one of the main things. Like me
Hmm.
being free in my mind was huge because
Hmm.
I no longer had to battle with these two voices of right and wrong, or in a sense where am I doing what's pleasing to God? Is this God's will? Is this not God's will? Did I do this or
Yeah.
shouldn't I do this? Like,
Yeah.
nah. It's just so much pressure. And that I think too, that builds a lot of anxiety with
Hmm.
people.
Yeah, it does. It really does. And for me, just a lot of guilt, just for
Yeah.
feeling guilt, just for doing what you want to do.
So true.
like, like,
So true.
just
Yes.
being
Talk about
yourself and
that.
doing what you want to do, and then feeling
Yes.
guilty about it. And
Yep.
it's like, oh, I had a couple of drinks too many last night, and then wake up in the morning feeling guilty.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
yeah,
And it's
yeah,
crazy how that works.
yeah,
And then when you have that guilt in yourself, you're battling with, and then you got to go on Sunday and hear the pastor beat you in the head even more about it. You should be living right. You should be doing like it's
yes,
like a constant just beating a person down to
yes,
nothing. You know what I
yes,
mean? Oh no,
yes.
no.
Yeah, I feel so free, and I feel so good about myself. Like,
Yeah,
it's just like I used to sing the song "Break Every Chain." Well, the
yeah.
chains are really broken now.
That's
I
so
thought about
good.
that the other day. Like, I used to love that used to be my song that I used to sing all the time. And it's like,
Natasha
the
Cobb.
chain. Yes,
Yep, I know
yeah.
what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yep.
the chains are broken now. The
Yeah.
chains of religion are broken, and I just feel so free, and I could do the things that I felt guilty about doing,
Yep.
and I've been managing a nightclub. Ain't no way I could have did that as a Christian.
Wow. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Them church folks heard about that. Ooh. Yeah.
Yeah, managing a nightclub, bartending, like I
Wow.
enjoy that. That's fun for me, and that's not something
Kudos.
I ever could have done. I couldn't have done
Yeah.
that.
That
The guilt I would
kudos
have
to you.
had, I think.
Yes, kudos to you because you're doing what you want and not
Hmm.
what you're told from a book.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yep.
mean? Like having your own autonomy was huge. I like
Yeah.
just hearing you say that, when you're doing what you want, I love it. Because that's how it
Hmm.
should be. That is
Hmm.
how life should be.
Yeah. And what I, and doing what I want, I'm not out here doing horrible things,
Right.
I'm not out here mistreating people or robbing or killing or stealing or
Right. Right.
nothing bad. I'm
Yeah.
just doing what I enjoy. And when I'm not doing that, I'm still handing out bag lunches to the homeless and giving people
Absolutely.
rides that need rides. I'm part of a program called Compassionate Rides. I gave
Yeah.
a guy a ride this morning that needed a ride. And if I wasn't doing this right now, I'd be doing the bag lunches. But I asked someone else to do it for me today because I wasn't available. But you know, I'm still very much about the people.
Yeah.
I'm very much about the people. The next shirt I make is going to say humanist. That's what I'm
Yes.
referring to myself now
Yeah. I
as,
love.
is I am a humanist because
Yeah.
I care about humans, you know.
I love that. That's so important. And
Yeah.
a common misconception people think is they think when we leave those belief systems that we turn into these monsters and we're animals and we're doing all of this crazy stuff and drinking blood and eating babies and killing and stealing. We don't have no filter. No, it's not like
No.
that, man, at all. Like if anything, we love people more because it's not
Yeah,
tied to a doctrine or a belief. Well, I got to get them
that's
saved. Do
right.
you know Jesus? I need to. None
Yes.
of that.
Yes.
I
We
just
can
love
love
people.
people regardless of what they believe.
Yes, I love them more because there's no
Yes.
strings attached. I just
That's
love people
right.
as humanity and human beings. I honor
Mhm.
and cherish human beings. Like
Yeah.
I'm not. They're not an assignment to me. No,
Hmm. Hmm.
absolutely. So like when you lose all that baggage, you can
Yeah.
really enjoy life and humanity for what it is.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. You don't have to look down and judge people because they
Oh
don't
my
believe what
gosh.
the Bible says.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's
So
pretty
good. Yeah.
awesome. Yeah. So how has your new way of thinking affected your relationships?
Ooh, man, my new way of thinking affect my relationships. People don't know this about me, but I'm still married, and my wife, as I said earlier, is the pastor's daughter, which she would be considered a prophetess, a female prophet, and that's the black
Hmm.
church we call them prophetess. I'm still
Right.
married to her.
Hmm.
So that was one of the things that we had to really move forward in life with knowing how to move, especially with me getting out of it and not being tied to it. Because for
Hmm.
20 years, we've always been married 20 years. And for our whole life, it's just been church, it's been God. So that's the only side
Yeah.
that she know me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So now that relationship is like my first and foremost critical one because we got to move differently, and it's not differently
Hmm.
in a bad way. It's just differently in a sense where I'm no longer tied to that system. That
Yeah.
don't make me a bad or evil person. I just don't believe it anymore.
Hmm.
But
That's
like I
right.
always told her, I didn't marry you because you were a Christian. I married you because I loved you,
Hmm.
and we can move past and live life with different beliefs. You see what I'm saying? Because like me, I'm not like I said earlier, like I'm not attacking Christians. I mind my own business. I'm good. Me and her, we don't even have to talk about, and most of the time we don't talk about a God, a Bible, anything. I don't need to
Hmm.
debate her. You know what I mean? Like I don't need to combat her. I don't need to do
Yeah.
none of that.
Yeah.
Um, in our marriage, we move forward, loving each other and living life. The other relationships like my uh, aunties and cousins and oh man, they went crazy. I was labeled
Mm.
as the devil. I was labeled
Oh
as
wow.
demons, all that. But I understand where that comes from. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when you're in it that deep, that's where it comes from because that's what you really believe and
Hmm.
that's all you know.
Hmm.
So like those relationships kind of went down and it affected it. But at the same time, I understand that perspective. Not saying that it's right, but they can't see nothing else. And when you
Yeah.
Bible locked and when your mind is trapped in a book, that's all you know and all you see.
Yeah.
So we still good, but it's just mutual respect. Like don't come to me with it because I'm not coming to you with it. You know what I mean?
Right.
But the minute you
Hmm.
come to me with it, now it's game on. Now I got to tear it up. You see, and I don't want to. It's like don't force me. Don't. You know what I'm saying? I'm peaceful. I'm good. We could talk about any and everything, but the minute you violate and start imposing stuff about a God, nah, it's game
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
And it don't have to be like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that's a lot of my family because they still in it. They look at
Hmm.
me like they crazy. They don't respond to me or don't want to talk, and that's fine. I'm cool. You know what I mean? I'm not hurt. Life goes on. I'm gonna live
Yeah.
my life. Y'all live y'all's.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's no hard feelings, but I understand where it comes from because
Hmm.
you looking at a
Yeah.
book and that's your life.
Yeah. Yeah. Isn't
Yep.
it crazy though? Like now that you think about it, like you let a whole book that was
Yes.
written by men control your whole life, and you call it the infallible word of God, but there's so many discrepancies in it, and then there's so much bad stuff in it,
Yes.
uh, and then, but this is what you base your life on. So yeah,
Man, that's what's so weird to me. And also like cultish. It's like
yeah,
that's so cultish. Like I always look at myself as a mirror. That's why a lot of my videos I laugh because I'm like, I used to say this stuff. Like, I let a
yeah,
book written by dead men rule my life.
yeah.
And it's insane. Even
It's insane.
so much so where I would cut people off for it.
Yeah,
This is crazy. Jesus himself
yeah,
said, no man loves anybody who loves a mother, father, brother, sister more than me ain't fit. I
yeah,
took that literally. I messed up a lot of relationships.
yeah,
Literally.
yeah.
You see
Jesus
what
is
I'm saying?
definitely not about family. Not
No,
about family at all.
no, absolutely. And as you said, there's so much bad stuff in it, but people just gloss over it. They don't even look at
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. I just got through listening to the audiobook. Did the Old Testament endorse slavery? There's
Oh,
so much stuff, like so much stuff that you don't even pay attention to when you're reading the Bible when it comes to that. And just the whole way that he treated Job. It's like, why would I
yeah,
turn my child over to my adversary? Like, why would I do that? I would never do that, you
ever.
know.
And the funny part about the Job story, it wasn't the Satan who said something about Job. God said it. He said, did you
Yeah.
consider him?
Yes.
Satan ain't said nothing about it, Job. Like, God, why would you do that to your own?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
mind blowing.
It
That's why I
is,
say,
but we
yeah.
don't look at it that like that. We just look at it like Job, he suffered. At least you don't have to suffer like
Yeah.
Job. Like, look what he did. Like, yeah, no,
In what world do we do that? We don't. That's
no,
why I knew. I said,
no.
oh, yeah, this is garbage. This is men
Yeah,
writing these stories. Yeah, this is garbage.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because I mean, he condoned condoned so much in the Old Testament. Like I said,
Yeah.
slavery and giving your daughters, you know, away, and all
Yeah.
that. There's no way. There's absolutely no way. Um, yeah. So
And when
I don't
you
feel. Go
go
ahead.
ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
I don't feel bad at all. Like I don't at this point I don't question it all. I don't doubt it all. There's no part of me that says, "Well, Mac, what if I'm wrong?" There's no part of
No.
me. Mm-mm.
And I'm with you. I'm with you on that. There's no part of me because somebody asked me on Instagram. They had questions and they said their big issue was fear of hell. And do you ever question, oh, YouTube, one of them, do you ever question maybe you've been wrong? I said, no, I don't. Like I don't like
Yeah.
for me, the amount of stuff that I've seen in that book and I've seen where this stuff comes from,
Hmm.
you can't unsee it. It's like,
No, you can't.
yeah, I'm good on this. Like, no,
Yeah.
at no point could I comply and surrender to anything like that. That's a monster. It's
Hmm.
like, what? This, like you said, when you're giving over the daughters and rape and all of this stuff,
Hmm.
slavery, details on how to
Hmm.
do it and who to do it to. Wait, what are we? Is this a novel or is this a Bible? No, this is the Bible,
Yeah.
bro. Like,
Yeah.
people don't even realize it,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Go and kill everybody, and take their land, but keep the virgins for yourself.
for yourself.
Yeah.
That's right. That's what I was like, what? Oh no, no. I was like, yeah. But I always ask the question. I'm like, damn, how did I not see this? And then I was like, you know what? When I was in it, when you reading the Bible for devotion, you're trying to get something in it. You're trying to put yourself in the Bible where
Yeah.
God's speaking to me. You won't read it like that. You won't even see it. It's
Yeah.
like your mind will skip right over it and you'll go to the good
Hmm.
part. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And I was like, damn, it's been there the whole time. All
Yeah.
them stories, all that monstrosities, and all everything been
Yeah.
there the whole time.
And like you said, you can't unsee it. Once your eyes are open to it, that's it.
No,
There's
it's a wrap.
no going back.
Yep.
I can't even imagine going back at all.
Yep. Yeah, I said, oh no. When I saw that, I was like, no. So yeah, for me, it just doesn't make any sense. And when you start to ask these questions, like, how could the God character endorse any of it? And he command a lot of it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm good on that character.
yeah,
Like
yeah. Like you said, he commanded it,
he
and
commanded.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So yeah, it's hard to turn back after you realize that, after you're open to that and you see it for what it is.
Right. Right. Yeah. And that was the best thing for me, like seeing it for what it is. And not one thing too that helped me is I had to take the Jesus church glasses off. And when you take
Hmm.
them off, you can kind of see it from a different light. But as long as you got them on, those are your lens. You assume a
Yeah.
lot of stuff, you presume a lot of stuff, and you can't see
Hmm.
any of it.
Hmm.
Actually, some people will defend it,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
And and people, it is so people assume that everybody's a Christian,
Right.
and you can be out and doing minding your business, and people talking about prayer, and I have a guy, like I said, I transport people and whatnot, and the guys sometimes they're like, oh, I got such and such going on, pray for me. Well, why do you assume that I pray, or
Right.
who do you think I'm going to pray to? Like, why
Right.
do you assume that I'm praying to, and I'm praying to the same God that you're praying to? Why do you just make that assumption? Just
Mm-hmm.
because I'm helpful, because I'm helping, and because I'm thoughtful, because I'm a normal, regular, everyday person, that you just assume that I have to be a Christian, or and people say, "Oh,
Yep.
you're such a good person. You just God is just all over you, and Jesus loves you." Does he?
Right.
Here's the link to my YouTube channel. Go check it out.
Exactly. I hate when people assume that, Diane. Like I do, because it's like, man, why do you think your God is the true God? You know how many gods there
Yeah,
are? Like,
yeah,
why do people, it's so cringy, and I can't stand when people say God bless you or I'll pray for you. Oh, that burned me up. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like when people sneeze and they say God bless you. I hate that. Like, don't say that to me when I sneeze, man. Like, I don't believe the same thing you believe. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Um, I could say hail Zeus or bless Zeus or bless Thor or any of them.
yeah,
Like the assumption that because we in the United States, everybody's a
yeah,
Christian. Yeah,
yeah. That's it. That's it.
yeah.
Yeah. So, what do you have in store for your channel? What you got? Anything coming up on there?
Oh, you know what? I'm trying to like since I just started a few months ago, I'm really just trying to put out more content because that's one of like my biggest challenges now is trying to find the time to put out the content. But
Yeah,
that's my thing. I just want to put out more content, more topics, and more discussions. Because also for me, it's therapeutic. So that's why it's
yeah,
like it's therapeutic and it's so laughable to me. And it's like if I can't laugh and have fun doing it, then I don't want to do it no more. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So I just really want to put out content and connect with people and give people a place and a space to have a conversation, ask questions, look at this and say, man, this don't make no sense. Like, because a lot of people, they do deal with this stuff and question this stuff, but they don't have nowhere to say it publicly or
yeah.
vocalize it,
That's right. Yeah.
so yeah,
Hmm.
that's really what I want to be, a launching pad and a landing pad for people just to have a discussion. Let's talk about it. Let's laugh about it. Hey,
Hmm.
you thought it was
Hmm.
crazy? I did too. So yeah, let's come on in. Like I'm with you. Like I understand
Yeah.
you. I'm right there with you. You ain't through this alone. So for me, it's
Hmm.
just putting out content. I just want to be that launching and landing pad for people. Cause I know a
Yeah.
lot of people do question. They just,
Yeah.
it's like so taboo that they just don't say nothing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
That's it.
But
That's
when you
it.
see people like you and me and others, it opens them up like a flower. Like, hey, I
It
can
does.
say this and I can talk. So yeah,
Yeah, it does. And I've noticed on my TikTok, people that I know personally, and some of the things, short, stuff I put on there, and they comment and be like, I agree with that, or I feel the same way, and it's just like, really. There's one
Mm-hmm.
time I had a preacher that I knew from Alabama, and he liked one of my posts, and I was like, what is that about?
Wow.
Like, what is that about? I wanted to inbox him and like, hey, did you watch
Yeah. 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 So many are
Yeah.
going through it and thinking, you know what I mean? When all the lights is off and the music stopped, people on their couch thinking and they asking these
Yeah.
questions. And the greatest thing that I love about the internet is you can connect with people in Japan, in Greenland,
Hmm.
Iceland,
Hmm.
all over. And
Yeah.
we have more access to professors, people that teach in these universities. We got more access to
Yeah.
them now, but we can ask them questions and they can interact.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I
Hmm.
love it.
Hmm.
So it really brings everybody together, and I think like that's one of the biggest kryptonites to religion, specifically Christianity, is knowledge. When people start really researching and reading the truth of these claims, oh
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, like you said, people like us, letting people know that they're not by themselves
Yeah.
and that they can talk about these things. And like you said, it is therapeutic, and that's one of the reasons I started my channel, is because I do enjoy talking about this stuff. And I don't really, I do have a couple of family members close to me, that are going through the same process that I'm going through. But overall, I just enjoy being able to meet new people and get more perspectives and more ideas. I've learned so
Hmm.
much just from talking to people, and I just really enjoy that. I enjoy learning. I enjoy learning, and I just love all the different ideas that people have. And none of us have to be condemned to hell for thinking the way that we think or for asking questions.
Right, right. You know, I thought I said a while ago. I said, man, you think about life, like you can change jobs if you're not satisfied. If you don't like your weight, you can get on a diet regimen and work out. I was like, but the if you don't even like where you live, you can move out the city and move to another town. I said, but the
Yeah.
minute you say I don't believe this, then people are like, oh no, why you don't? You should, you wrong.
Hmm.
Like, why does this is such a linchpin and a sticking point for people? It's like let
Yeah.
people be. And
Yeah.
that was one of the biggest things when I came out of it and left it all behind. As a preacher, I realized, like, man, I don't have to police people no more. I can just let people
Hmm.
be, because as a
Yeah.
leader, a preacher, a pastor, you want to make sure that they soul is saved. You want to make sure that they
That's right.
doing this and doing this right and ain't doing this and don't do this.
Yeah. What advice do you have for others that are going through this process?
Oh, that's a very good question. The advice I have for others that are going through this process is um, it's okay to question, follow the information where it leads, um, ask more questions, get around people that are going through a similar experience like you or similar questions and talk
Hmm.
with them, discuss some things, and embrace the process, because just because you question it don't mean you're wrong. You're questioning because
Hmm.
something doesn't seem right. So follow that and look into the whole deconstruction process about different beliefs and different doctrines and church things that you've been taught, because as you'll see and as you may find later on, some of it or all of it may not be as true as you were told. So embrace the
Yeah.
process, and there's so many people out here like you that are going through it. Try to connect, get on Facebook, get on YouTube, find videos, get in the comment section, TikTok. Try to connect with people so that you can have a support system, because the biggest thing that you don't want is to feel like you're in it alone, and you're not. There's so many of us. There are so
Yeah.
many of us out here that are with you, supporting you. And that's why our channel and Diane's channel is here for you guys that are questioning and that are going through the very thing that we went through and we came out. So I just open invite. Come on and connect and talk and ask those questions and keep questioning, because when some don't make sense, you already know that it doesn't. So you're not wrong for that. Pursue what you're trying to look into, and it'll
Yeah.
help. And you'll be glad you did.
That's right. Very, very good advice. Very good advice. And I just want to thank you again for taking the time to talk with me today. I've enjoyed it, and
Oh,
I will be sharing your page in the description, your channel, so people can come and find you.
oh man, I appreciate that, and thanks so much, Diane, because you are doing something awesome, and so many people is going to be touched and moved by your channel because, like I said earlier, you don't see a lot of us out here. So thank you for
Mhm.
even inviting me. And I remember when you said, you know what, I'm thinking about doing the channel. Would you come on? I would love to. Like, I was so excited. I'm like, yes, let's do it, because I just love to see people come out of it. So thank you for all you
Yeah.
do. Thank you for your channel, and I really appreciate everything. And keep doing them videos. I mean, keep doing them interviews. We need them. We need them.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it. And like I said, I'll share all your information, and I will be watching your channel. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.